Today we put our 4x4 posts up and framed our ceiling box. It went pretty smoothly today. One thing I learned is that our 4x4s in the center, to wait to cut those to length till after you have your ceiling box framed, because the camber and the wood, they're going to be longer than your corner posts, which is something I never knew before.
I wish that we knew before starting that the level was broken. The level we were using, the 6-foot level we were using, was actually broken, and so it took a long time to try to level it, and then it was discovered that the level was actually broken. So then we kind of had to re-level everything.
We cut one I-joist extra, so we cut one more than what we needed, and I think that should have been avoidable, and we shouldn't have done that, because if everyone does that, then that's 20 I-joists that we can't use. That's enough for 2 more ceilings. So that's my bad. I grabbed one more, but now I'll be to count.
Just make sure that check your level
Yeah.
a lot, and then make sure you check plumb on your 4x4s before you put up your ceiling joists, and then after, not the joists, I'm sorry, the glue lamps, and then check it after as well.
So today we're gonna need our skill saw, and we're gonna use this to cut out our notches for our 4x4. If you already didn't do that, we're gonna need our nail gun to put our braces on for our 4x4s. We're gonna need the school's impact to drill our lag bolts in for our ceiling box. A few clamps to clamp our glue lamp onto the lift, just to keep it safe when we're hoisting it up. We're gonna need our hammer and our nail puller for the Tico nails, and in case we need to take any nails out. A scrap piece of all thread to check if your drilled holes are drilled to the right width. We're going to need our tape measure so we can mark our layout for framing. We're also going to need our speed square to make sure we draw straight lines. We're going to need our chalk reel to chalk a line from 4x4 to 4x4. And we're going to need our sledgehammer to help tap our 4x4s to make sure they're level. Yeah, and we're going to need our 6-foot level is going to work best, and it'll be more accurate. So if they're available, I'd grab one, just because if it's not accurate, they're probably going to make you redo it.
Good morning. Right now we are re-leveling our house because we moved locations. So we're just leveling it, putting shims, and right now Isaiah's cutting out the squares for our 4x4s on our OSB on the corners and in the 2 in the center. Yep. After that, we'll cut our 4x4s down and then get them put up. Well, the floor is not level from point A to point B, so we have to re-level it every time. Yeah, always make sure you're checking level, especially as we're working on it, pounding on stuff, walking all over it. Things can shift, so we always want to make sure it's staying level.
So when you get ready to start putting on your 4x4s and your notch is a little bit bigger than your 4x4, what we're going to do for this hardware is we're going to line up the edge of our 4x4 with the corner of our 21-foot glue lamp. It doesn't have to be flush with this, because usually it's a little off, but make sure it's flush with this glue lamp. And then we're going to set our bracket down and glide it over till this piece hits the glue lamp. And then we'll take a Tico nail and throw it in here to hold it in place. And now you know that's where it should be. So now you can go ahead and throw all these bottom nails in. So when you're ready to put your 4x4, it'll just slide in. We're getting ready to put in our first post. So I'm just going to slide it in, and either me or Jasper will put one of our feet on the back of it, so when you nail it in, it won't just bounce away. And then after we have it all nailed in, we're going to hold our level up to it and secure this post straight up and down with two 2x4s nailed into here to the glue lamb. Okay, right there. Yeah, right there. So it's important that your 4x4 is really level, because this is what the rest of your house is gonna lay on. It's gonna support a ton of weight. Also, when you go to frame your walls, if it's not level, you'll have a small gap at the bottom or no gap, and it'll be huge at the top or vice versa. So this is basically the next most important thing besides a level foundation. So right now we're trying to make square cuts for our bywall glue lamb. We're getting ready to frame the box for the ceiling right now. And once again, we're having a hard time making a square cut because of the camber. So we're having to adjust the position of our wood. So the saw will cut at a 90. Yeah, once you get kind of close, you can clamp it down with this, and then you can start tapping it with your hammer to get that line to line up perfectly. But that's basically the best thing we've found. That's the most effective.
I'm just marking our butt wall glue lamps for our ceiling with the bracket so I can notch it out so it can fit in there good. And then we'll do the same thing over here to the other one. I guess when you do this way, just make sure you go on the inside. You mark on the inside of here.
So right now I'm getting ready to drill my holes for my ceiling box for my all thread, and it's the same exact thing as the floor box. So I'm going to come out 30 inches and I'm going to come down 1 3/4, make an X right there, and that's how I know where to place the nipple of this bit.
And again, you only have to go in halfway and then you hit it from the other side.
Yeah, you go in halfway here, back it out, and then halfway, and then you can start punching through all the way. So we just got done drilling all of our holes for our all thread. So I'm just going around checking to see if we have to ream the hole out a little more or if the all thread will slide in easily. So it looks like this one we're gonna have to ream out a little more. No, it's getting stuck at the end. But you can take your drill bit, and as you start drilling, you need to start, it's called reaming it out. So you take your drill bit and you move it in a circle like this. And what that does is it just widens your hole. Do we have to level it both ways? It feels pretty good. It's moving loosely. That's what we want. Now we need to go do the same thing to this one down here, because this one was catching. Yeah, it was a little bit off, so that ended up, yeah, the level was actually broken. So it was level to that level. So we got a new level and it was about a 1/4 inch off. So that threw off all of our posts. So right now we have to re-level all of our posts before we can put our ceiling box on. You're good there. You just want to try whacking these? Well, we were able to tap it back this way, but the brace is too strong, so we weren't able to hit it as much as we need. So we're gonna have to take this one off. Well, right now I'm hanging my brackets for my butt wall glue lamp ceiling box, and it's the same exact thing as our floor box. So what I'm gonna do is you need to make sure that this piece is flush with the end of the glue lamp. So when you slip this in, this piece will be flush with the glue lamp. And in order to make sure that you're not putting your bracket on too tight or too big, just take a scrap piece of glue lamp you cut off, slip it in there, and then now you know where to nail it to make sure you get a tight fit.
It's like a little template.
Yes. On the ceiling, we're gonna go 24 inches on center, and it's still a 2.5 inch gap for our I-joists because we're using the same ones. So what I did is I came 24, I marked my center line, and then I went 1.25 inches on each side. And now I know that that's a 2.5 inch gap, and my I-joist will fit right in.
So you always work from the center.
Yeah, from the center out.
Yeah, so what's going on here, sir?
So what I'm doing now is I'm hanging these brackets for our top glue lamp before we put them up, so it gives us one less thing to do. So the way these brackets are going to go is they're going to be pointing inwards with this bottom part up against the glue lamp. So to make sure I get it even with the top of this, I just take my torpedo level, I hold it at the top of the 4x4, and I slide this bracket up flush with that. And once it's flush, now I can take my nail, hold it in place, and start hammering. So what I'm doing is I'm marking the center of my glue lamp, and that's going to be at 10 feet 6 inches. So I'm going to throw a mark down there, and I'm also going to mark the center of my subfloor, which is also going to be 10 foot 6 inches. So when we get it on our lift, we can line up the center of our glue lamp to the center of our build. So when we lift it straight up, we're not going to have to move it too much to put it up on our 4x4s. That good?
Quite close.
Close enough. We don't need to clamp it, do we?
Yeah, you really should.
That's why we put a glue lamp up there, I think. Crank it the other way. There you go. We came in a little bit big here. So what we're doing is we're flushing up one side, and once one side gets absolutely flush, then we're throwing our nails in, then we're going to the other side, and we're gonna knock the 4x4 to get it flush with the glue lamp. That's pretty lined up how it is. We're pretty spot on right here. Yeah, now we're doing the same thing on this side, but one thing the students should do is clamp their glue lamp to that. Dan's getting a little frustrated with the clamp, so he says we don't need it, but if you don't have someone with like 50 years working it, then I definitely would clamp it. I'm flush. Jasper, I'm flush.
Yeah, it went really well. They've got their beams notched to go in their end hangers. Then they ran all of their ceiling joists hardware hangers. And we set everything in place with the lift. Next move will be to lag the glue lamp beams together. And then after that, we'll go in and we'll start snapping lines for the walls. Looks really good.
What's one of the biggest things that you look for, obviously, for things to be leveled, plumb, right?
Right. Well, the biggest thing is that your posts are plumb and level when you first start. And then if they're good, then once you set your other beams on there, you should be good. Everything should stay plumb and level. Got to get all our nails in, and then we're ready to go.
How are you liking the pace, Dan? Is it a good speed for you?
Well, it's a little slow. We're Monday morning, so things are moving a little slow. They'll get back in the groove tomorrow, but right now they're moving right along. He's drilling his holes for his lags right now, so.
So I'm pre-drilling my 3/16 hole for my lag bolts, and something we did that I think really helped is we pre-drilled our countersink, and we marked it down. We pre-drilled it before we even lifted the glue lamp. So the only thing we had to do when we lifted it was nail it in and bolt it together. So that really saved a lot of time instead of trying to juggle two drills, or you have someone countersinking and you're drilling. It does save a lot of time if you just do it as much as you can down on the floor before you have to raise it up. We're snapping a line from the inside of this 4x4, not the bracket, but it has to be on the 4x4, all the way across. So when we start framing our walls, we know that our 2x4 has to sit on this side of the chalk line. And for this, is it okay if these sink down, or do they have to be level with the subfloor like this, or can it sink down?
It can sink down a little bit. Can
Okay.
you get a nail in there?
There's no nail holes
Okay,
here.
then they're fine.
Okay. Right now we're putting our brackets on, put up our center 4x4s, and we snap this line so we know how to frame our wall, and also we know where the very edge of our 4x4 needs to go. Put it in our 4x4s in the middle. These are our non-weight bearing beams that we use to frame the walls to give us something to nail into. And something really important while you're nailing these in is to remember that you need these just as level as you need your corner posts. And the way we're doing that is we're putting the bottom in first, then we're tilting the top up. Jasper will hold the level to it, and then I'll tap it back and forth. And once we're perfect, I'm going to take this bracket, throw it in there, and then I'll hug it with the clips. I think we decided on 106 3/8 because our ceiling box is actually concave a little bit, so it's bowing inward. So to make up for it, we're going to cut these a little bit bigger than our measurement to help push it out a little bit. Well, we made a mistake And it's actually, Jasper was cutting them at 106 and 5/8 instead of 106 and 3/8. So we're taking the 2 pieces he cut just to shave off a little bit. Yeah, so we put our I-joists up. Pretty much the only thing that stood out to me is when you have a partner on one end and you on the other end, when you set your I-joists down, wait till either you finish hammering it in or your partner finishes hammering it in, because if you both go at the same time, your hammers just bounce. So once you get one end secure, then go ahead and drop your other end in. But other than that, it's the same thing it's been for the last 2 builds. It worked pretty well for us. If you have one person up there just receiving them, you can throw them up to that person on the ladder, then you can get up. That works pretty good too. So right now we're cutting our top and bottom plates for our walls, and we're gonna lay out our top and bottom plates all around the house instead of building wall by wall. So we're gonna have our top and bottom plates surrounding the perimeter of the house, and then we'll mark our layout on those 2x4s and get it all done at once. So all we have to do is just cut studs to length, then we could throw it up.
A whole lot faster and easier.
Yeah.
So it's like a time-saving technique.
Yeah, it's something new that Dan just mentioned, and I wish I would have learned it sooner, but it's better late than never. Need to shave a little bit off.
So what we're doing is, if you look at the plans, we want to make sure all those get laid out on our wall system here. Then they can go around and count how many studs and how many trimmers that they're going to need, and they can get started cutting their lumber. They're doing a great job. This is just called laying out, and they're doing a good job. Today we were trying to get the walls laid out. We got the roof on, the center post up. So we're ready to go. Tomorrow they'll cut studs and start framing all the exterior walls. And they'll be ready for sheeting toward the end of the day. Yes, they were using a level that wasn't true to show a plumb line. So we quickly got rid of that level and picked up another level. So today what we did was laid out where all the windows and doors are going to go, where all the studs are going. And tomorrow they'll actually start framing. I played a little trick on them today by not laying out a window, just to see if they caught on and were actually reading the blueprints. And when we thought they were all done, I said, did you double check to make sure we got everything? They went back and they noticed that we didn't lay out a window, so they quickly laid out the window. So I'm trying to teach them to read the blueprints also, not just go off what I'm telling them, but I need them to think ahead and look at the blueprints and be able to build to those blueprints. What I'm looking for is to make sure that all their centers are good on their roof rafters. Their posts are plumb, of course. That's the biggest thing. And then overall, they did a really good job today. They got a little slow start, but then they picked it up and they got everything looking really good.